Hello geeks, dweebs, nerds and dorks. Welcome to the corner. I'm the Bard and I'll be your host for this channel. We're going to kick today off with a quick look at role-playing games and the problems we face when trying to engage in our hobby. It's do or die. It's all or nothing. Defeat or glory. And it's down to this last dice roll. You grab those dice, you put that shake weight training to good use, and you'll let those bad boys roll. Eagerly everyone watches as they careen across the table, hoping it's going to fall on some amazing number. But it doesn't fall on any number that you want. What it does fall on is the floor. Great. Now we got to get up, we got to look for those dice, we got to find where they fell. I mean, this takes a while, but eventually you find them. 15! That's great! That's a great success! Check it out, that's 15! Now mate, house rules. Roll it on the table. All dice must be rolled on the table. You what, mate? There aren't many gamers who say, to hell with it, I'll find it later. I mean, that's pretty brave. Because we all know you won't find it later. Alright, chances are you won't see it for a year, if you even find it at all. But that scenario aside, what's more likely is that you'll find in the morning, you come down, you go into breakfast, you're in just your socks, and that's when you start doing the freaking can-can. People are looking at you saying, what the hell are you doing bouncing around like that? Well, I've just stepped on raging savage plastic agony. That's right, you stood on a dice. If you haven't done it, you're lucky. But for those of you that have, you know what I'm talking about. Now I know what you're thinking. Nah. No. It's not this one. It's this vicious icosahedral. But you step on one of these and you're in for a world of hurt. D20s are monstrous. It's round enough to roll, yet still pointy enough to hurt you with every rotation. You step on like a D4 and one point of it will stick in your foot and yeah, it hurts. But the D20, it rolls from the front of your foot all the way to the back of your heel. And that is really painful. Especially if your feet fly out from under you and you hit the deck and you're rolling around on the floor in absolute agony. If you ever play your games publicly, or ever have played your games publicly, you'll understand where this is coming from. But then you get some random ass people coming up to you, asking you some equally random questions. What are you doing? Baking a cake, mate. What does it look like I'm doing? And there's no real way to answer this besides, it's like acting. Without getting into some overt and overly complicated explanation that leaves them just as confused as when they asked you. How do you win? Well, I find not getting killed is a good start. My personal response tends to be something along the lines of, well, you don't really win, you just do a bit better each time. Hey, do you dress up? No. Look around you. Do you see many armoured warriors or elf princesses or arc wizards? No, of course you don't. As you can see, we're all pretty normal people wearing pretty normal clothes, doing pretty normal hobbies. Do you hit each other with swords? No, we don't. Many of my friends are medieval battle reenactors, so a lot of them will answer yes. And, yeah, reenactment is pretty impressive. I mean, this is what it is. Okay. But what people really want to know is it this that you do? Well, no, mate, that is something completely different. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, it's good. All right, but what we're doing here is different from what we're doing out there. So it's easier just to say no and be done with it. Because I'm not willing to sit here and explain the difference. So just no. Sometimes you get people in your group who just don't gel with the rest of the players. These are problem gamers. Now, it's not usually their personality that's a problem. It's usually their gaming style. Here's a few examples. A nice character you built there. So, what is it, like a cleric or something? A healer? Stand back, sit at the back, bust out the heals, make sure everyone's still alive. Oh, that's good, that's good. Well, what the hell are you doing kicking in the door? Random. Or, what are you, the virtuous paladin? Oh, that's good. You're like truth and justice and all that kind of stuff. And then, what's that? A shiny gold coin. I'll have that. Paladin, mate. That was my shiny gold coin you just stole. I mean, what's the point? Why make a character? Why build a backstory? Well, why even create a character if you're not going to do what the character does? What's the point in that? Do you know what? I've got no time for loners. It's like, alright. Now, I know there's going to be people who disagree with me, and don't bother commenting on it. Alright? Just sit back and let me explain. Alright? I know some people love playing the loner. Alright? But it is an issue. So don't go getting all butthurt over it. Alright? Here's the facts. Any character who's basically saying, well, I work alone. Well, no. No, you don't. You don't work alone. Look, mate, you're sat around a table here with like 5 other people. What part of that constitutes being alone? I mean, alright, I get it. Sometimes you have to scout ahead. Sometimes you're doing recon in a space game on some forbidden planet because you don't know what's going to kill you. Sometimes you fall into a trap and you get separated. Or you just end up getting playing lost and separated. I totally get it. There are legitimate instances when you will be on your own. But don't deliberately go out on your own. 1, you're making an easy target. And 2, you are forcing the GM to split his attention. What makes you so singularly important that you can have an entire chunk of the session dedicated purely to you and what you're doing by yourself? It's role-playing group. A role-playing group. It's a team effort. I mean, as soon as you start splitting the attention between people, you're doubling the amount of time it takes to get to the same place. It's like, okay, I'm going to go off and do this. Okay. Alright, fine. You go do that. And we'll come back to you a little bit later. Maybe. If we can be bothered. The rest of us, we're going to go this way. Do you know what else pisses me off about the loner? Loners never talk. They never interact. It's like, I'm used to being by myself, and I'm used to being alone, and I've never had any social interaction with anyone. So you're not having any social interaction in real life. You're sitting around, you're rolling some dice. Yeah, that's fine, as long as you're having fun, I suppose. But part of character development is, well, as any good author will tell you, a story thrives on conversation. And it's true in role-playing. You can't just sit there and do nothing and not talk, or at least not have some input. I mean, there's different types of, non-interaction, but when you actually have to keep going out of your way to say, I'm not talking to that guy. Or I'm not going to interact. So now you're actually, in some ways, these loner characters doing more talking about the fact that they're not doing any talking. You're telling everyone of what you're not doing. Well, we can see what you're not doing. Why don't you actually put that character to use and do something? Alright team, we've finally done it. We've beat this dungeon. We've dealt with all the monsters and the traps and the puzzles. Last door. End of game boss. Yeah, I know. End of game boss. It's standard, alright? It's cliche, but screw it, everyone does it. Alright, so you open the door, and in there is some celestial creature, some, angel of the heavens. She's about to frickin' tear your party to pieces for reasons. And then one of your party members steps forward, your smooth-talking rogue. Or if you're like me, maybe you're a smooth-talking bard. But they step forward and they say something that just makes you groan. In fact, it makes you cringe. They say, "Hey baby, did it hurt when you fell from heaven?" And you're like, "Oh jeez, not this shit again." Man, don't let your weird fantasy spill over into our weird fantasy. Alright? That is just sickly. You keep it in the bedroom, man. No, I mean, everyone around the table is not so equally sexless as you. Hey man, what are you looking at me like that for? I'm just getting into character. What are you talking about? Well, I got a thing for dwarfs, you see. Don't get all method with me, alright? Because that's not going to fly here. Oh, for the love of... There's two of them now. Two of your players do it. Oh. Hey. You're the most attractive gnome I've ever seen. Hey. You're the most attractive half-giant I've ever seen. Guys, concentrate on the story. You don't have to get all doughy-eyed with each other. And you know what's even creepier? After the game, they act like nothing has happened. You were just practically rubbing each other up the leg. Method or not, man, that is just... And then you just pretend like it never happened. Like, oh god, man, it was just acting. No, man, I saw that. I saw what you were doing. You know? And even if it was just fake, I saw where your hands went. Ah, puzzle. Right, I'm good at these. What the hell? When you get to a point where you just can't get past a puzzle, what on earth are you supposed to do? I mean, you're kind of looking at your GM, like, throw me a bone here. And he's kind of looking at you as if to say, come on, mate. Grandmother could sort this out. Right, look, I've been working all day, okay? I've been sat in front of a computer and my eyes have just blinkered off. I've gone into sleep mode. Or I've been working, dealing with customers who have like the IQ of a potato. I mean, I have no critical thinking skills left for today to deal with this overly elaborate and crazy puzzle that you've put in front of me. On the flip side, my players are absolutely hopeless today. For God's sake, just read the instructions, man. Alright? That's how puzzles work. You read the rules, you work within those confines, and boom! Done! Puzzle sorted. Like most stories, it doesn't necessarily have a funny ending. But what it does do is it illustrates just a few of the little problems that we have as role players. You tell me about the things that you enjoy, and I'll spin you a tale. So until we meet again, happy adventuring.